Hello and welcome to Zerocarbonista, Series 6, The Cow in the Room. I'm Ian Collins, and this is your number one go-to environment-based podcast. If it's green, it's in. And we come to you this week live, Dale, from Croatia. What have you been there for the Eurovision Song Contest or something?
Yeah, I don't know if they held Eurovision here or not, but it's an exotic sounding part of Europe, which is normally where they do. Croatia's lovely. Took a few days to get here. Came via Berlin. I haven't even looked at a map. I found out today Berlin's not on the way to Croatia. That might explain why it took 3 days. I don't
Wow,
know.
what was that? This is some kind of film that it's sort of Netflix show. What were you, abducted by a train driver or something?
I was abducted by my girlfriend, I think. She's like, I'm going on a speaking tour of Europe. Let's go.
Nice.
I'm like, yeah, why not? And, it's pretty cool here, actually. And it's some kind of music industry event here in Croatia that I've just been listening to, a couple of panels, about music. And honestly, I thought I was in some kind of capitalist event like Davos or something. Everyone on the panel was talking about different markets. They meant countries and cultures, and then like this market, that market. And I'm like, Jesus, I thought this was rock and roll.
So Croatia let's explain why you're there specifically. You're doing some speaking. What else are you doing there? Is it a bit of scuba diving? What's going on?
Nope, I'm not doing anything. I'm not even doing this. This is just a prop.
Yeah, it looks rather tasty in your 20-something degrees Celsius backdrop, Dale.
Yeah, it's got warm. It's got warm. You're right. I'm not doing anything. I really am. I'm doing email and stuff. Oh, I did write an op-ed on the Eurostar on the way over, but we're going to come to that, I think.
Well, I was going to say, so you're in Croatia, but if we look back at the week, man alive, since we last spoke, you've been pretty rammed to the gills.
That's a great expression. Look, we spoke last week, didn't we, about the Telegraph, and they said they would take from me an op-ed about, our proposed trade deal with Israel. And somebody from Starmer's trade team wrote themselves an op-ed in Telegraph saying how it was illogical or something not to have a trade deal with Israel. And the Telegraph gave me the chance to respond, which I took. I wrote it on the Eurostar on the way over because I was running out of time. And it pulled no punches. And I was like really surprised they ran it because it was very critical, rightly so, of course, of the atrocities that Israel's committing, the siege and all that kind of stuff, and the immorality about saying, let's have a trade deal with a regime that's doing what it's doing to the Palestinian people. Very surprised they ran it. Private Eye were also surprised. I got an email from somebody there saying, is this part of your settlement with them for the Hamas gate thing, 2 weeks ago? Like, that's got nothing to do with it. I know what it's about. Telegraph readers either like or hate to read about me and what I'm doing and what I'm saying. And the Telegraph know that. It gets some readership. So they keep sticking me in their paper. Anyway, the piece ran at the weekend. A couple of days later, earlier this week, of course, there's been a major announcement. The UK, France, and Canada have come out and condemned what Israel are doing in Gaza and said there will be economic consequences if it doesn't stop. The latest thing, of course, is the siege, the imposition of famine on the people there, and that kind of stuff. It's gone beyond the pale, thank God, at last, and Western politicians are speaking up. A couple of days after the op-ed, our government says, actually, there's something wrong here. And so I put out a thing following that saying, we now need to cancel the trade talks, right? How can it make sense to have trade talks while in our new position? And I think it was yesterday. David Lammy announced that we were suspending or cancelling trade talks with Israel, which is brilliant. And then my friends at Telegraph are back on the email to me saying, do you want to make a quick comment? I was like, us and the Telegraph, me and the Telegraph this week, I feel that we've done great work, right? We put out a really strong position on Israel and trade. The world moved. I'm not saying it's down to us. It's not cause and effect, but maybe we've helped give it a little bit of a nudge. I don't know. And then, when the government announces a new policy, they're like, Dale, what do you think?
This is like a kind of sort of tacit prime ministerial, vaguely psychic role going on here. You're writing something the next day. David Lammy essentially, I know this is a very serious issue, but David Lammy kind of takes the very essence of what you were talking about, along with Keir Starmer.
Yeah, the first one was like this harsh rhetoric from three Western governments, which we hadn't seen before, and talking about recognizing Palestine as well, which is super important. And then, a bit later than that, it's like, we're going to cancel the trade deal, which is what we then called for. It's pretty cool. I like to think that maybe Labour cares a little bit more about what the Telegraph has in its paper than some other, let's say, left-wing outlets. There aren't many to choose from. Unless they maybe that's more influential. what a right-wing audience are reading is more influential with Labour. I don't know. But, it's been crying out to be done, to take a stronger stance against Israel. And the point I made in my op-ed is the point that I always make. Look at how we treat Russia for its invasion of Ukraine. The world's most incredible sanctions, wave after wave. We talk openly about breaking their economy. And what do we do with Israel for the same kinds of things? And in fact, actually amplified in Gaza. We just shrug and say, hey, do you want a trade deal?
I think there's been as well a bit of a crossover. We've done, in fact, today as we record this, a Wednesday we're recording this one, a big debate this afternoon about exactly that. Have Israel gone too far? Do you back the foreign secretary? And it was amazing how many people who you would say probably would vote on the right, including Reform UK, thought that the government had called this correctly. So this does go across parties.
I think you're right, because earlier in the week I was reading that Tory MPs have been standing up in the House and saying, look, I've been a friend of Israel for, I think in one case 40 years, in another case 20 years. And they're saying, when is genocide not genocide? Comments like that, super important. I think you're right, it's cross-party.
Yeah. Well, let's move. I mean, you mentioned trade deals there. We should talk about the EU trade deal, which was carved out this week. There was a bit of a powwow going on down there at Lancaster House. It's a very important house, and lots of significant stuff has happened in that house. And the latest significant stuff to happen in that Lancaster House was this. So you had Ursula von der Leyen, you had the Secretary of the EU, of the Council, and you had, of course, Keir Starmer there making a big announcement. He's saying it's a big win for the UK. It means, if nothing else, you'll be able to pass through passport control 90 seconds quicker than you could do. Did he get a good deal, Dale?
Well, I want to say two things. One is that was a great pivot from trade deal to trade deal, but you missed out FGR. We'll have to come back to that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was building up to the
You're
FGR.
saving that one. All right, saving that one. And the other thing, are you being paid to say house by the word? I mean, what's happening here?
It's a wimpy deal I did, but I was hoping you wouldn't notice.
I think the trade deal is brilliant. It's like the return of common sense to our foreign policy aimed at Europe, right? I mean, Starmer's already done a deal with India and the US, and now this EU one makes 3 of the world's 4 biggest economies that we've done trade deals with. The Tories talked about it forever, and Starmer's done it in 9 months. I think it's incredible. I think right-wing nut of the week probably goes to Farage for his reaction, because he called it a surrender. And it's like, hang on a second, check the list of things. Our food prices are going to go down. We're going to export more. It's going to be, our economy will grow. And we'll have some defence cooperation as well. Who doesn't like a bit of that? And that's a surrender, according to Nigel Farage.
And it's interesting that the British Chamber of Commerce, the Federation of Small Businesses, Morrison's Supermarket, I mean, the list goes on, are all kind of supporting this and suggesting that this is exactly what retail and trade and cross-border cooperation needed. So it does have, whatever different parties might want to disagree with it, it does seem to have a lot of support from the business and the commerce world.
Yeah, as did remaining. we have to say that, because that was the fact. And at the time, it was brushed off, But I think it's just common sense. We've been negotiating trade deals with other people, and the right wing in our country, Reform, Farage is like the architect of it, but now Badenoch leading the Tories, they seem to have this inherently anti-European approach. And treat the Europeans quite differently, really. To like trade with the US, we're like just negotiating, give and take to get a deal. That's how it works. They call this a surrender. I think that's just really silly. Farage says he'll cancel it if he gets into power. While that's a remote possibility, he hasn't actually said what he'd replace it with. And Keminoch, she said, Keminoch said she would cancel it before she even knew what was in it. And I mean, that's how predisposed against Europe these people are.
Yeah. It's kind of weird when you say that you're going to cancel something without. I mean, you've got it with something like trade deal. You've got to fully digest that stuff, right? I mean, you can't just read a couple of headlines and go, "This is outrageous." You've got to know your stuff. She's a former business secretary, so you think she might know better, but she's always trying to catch up with Reform, of course, to see who can be more reformy than Reform. Either Reform themselves, which is totally fine because they are Reform, that's what they do, or the Conservatives, and they don't know what the hell they are.
Yeah, and of course, she's even trying to catch up or keep up with Keir Starmer these days. I don't know if you saw the reports about PMQs. She had a script ready to target him about winter fuel payment allowances and saying, will you do a U-turn? And oh, you can't answer the question. This was her script. Starmer, the first thing he says is we're gonna revisit winter fuel payments, and she's like, oh, you can't answer the question. It's like he just did answer the question.
Yeah,
did you see that?
That's the classic blunder. And then the other thing that she didn't have a comeback for it either. So when he said, "Yeah, we're going to revisit this," what she would have done if you're the opposition in a democracy is go, so it's a U-turn. But she couldn't even do that. She couldn't do the basic. Yeah, she just moved to the next thing.
That's right.
But if you're a Tory voter or a Tory MP, you would have been not just disco, but you would have been dying in your own blue socks, sitting there on the benches behind her.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think AI would have done better. I think she's like some kind of very basic robot. She had a script and she stuck to it.
Maybe that's what they need. The first AI leader who is able to calculate. That's it. We're onto something here, Dale. I mean, talk about you being prophetic last week. Maybe this is it. When we watch PMQs next week, she won't be there. It'll just be this other sort of person that nobody recognises. But they say all the right things that happen to have an equal appeal to left, right, and reform. And they sound good, and they can do jokes in the right places, serious stuff in the right places. And everyone will go, wow, who is this person? I'm joking about that, but there are many movies made on this kind of stuff, and it could be very scary.
I think you're right. It's a bit glary out here, talking of scary.
I like it. The shades are on, which is good time for a drum roll. Can we have a drum roll, please, Kev? Because I did tease this. The FGR announcement, the Forest Green Rovers news. What is happening to your football club, Dale?
So big game tonight. Kick off at 7:45. We're playing Southend in the playoff semi-final. Just one leg at our place. If we win, we're at Wembley playing. I'm not sure who. Oh, yes, I am. I do know. York lost to somebody.
Oldham.
Oldham, yeah, thank you. Look at you. I'm impressed by that. So if we win tonight, we'll face Oldham at Wembley. And, I mean, it doesn't get much more exciting than a playoff semi-final and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's great to be here. We had a decent season, finished third, won a lot of games. We're only beaten once at home, actually. And it's a funny thing. Just towards the end of the season, we were unbeaten at home all season. And I thought to myself, last game at home, it wouldn't be a bad thing to do to lose because we get that monkey off our back. You wouldn't want to go into a one-leg semi at home, having never lost at home. You'd think, now it's the first time we're going to lose at home, right? We've done that, so it's gone.
Well, yeah. Great night. You're away, but you will be keeping your eye on this, Dale.
I will. I'll be through this device here, this magical device in front of me that you can't see.
Wow. It's like it's the 21st century or
it is.
Something like that. On a serious note, not that isn't serious. I think we should talk about we talked about salmon farming quite a lot, haven't we? Yeah. And there is a story around this as well.
Yeah, and it's a brilliant one. My team of undercover, I don't know what you'd call them, undercover reporters, I'm going to call them, have dug up some more footage of some more bad behaviour at a different salmon farm in Scotland. This one belongs to a company called Maui. It carries the RSPCA assured badge. So the RSPCA, obviously a charity that is set up to protect animal rights, are giving consumers the assurance that this fish was produced in a decent way. And the footage we've got shows anything but, including one worker crushing the head of a fish under the heel, just like casually, like they will kill this one like this. Beatings, multiple beatings of some other fish, suffocation taking minutes instead of seconds, stuff like that. It went further than we thought it would. It was just more abuse. We've been filming lots of it, but it was the RSPCA. And as soon as we put it out there and said to them they need to drop not just this farm, but this entire company, they moved and they pulled accreditation. They didn't just do that. They then contacted all of the supermarkets and told them to take that stuff off the shelf if it had the badge on it, the RSPCA badge. So they had to clear the shelves of this salmon, which is a really big impact, I think. And while they have some kind of investigation, And the salmon farm behind it is quite funny. Their first reaction was to say, we're the Green Britain Foundation. In this case, this is who we are when we do undercover animal stuff. They said, they're well known to be anti-animal farming for feeding people. They're vegans. And it's like, that's the first thing they said before talking about the treatment of the fish. for which they didn't really have a good answer. They said
So,
12.
yeah, I mean, that would be if somebody's contacting you about the treatment of the fish. The first answer is not to somehow kind of, sort of bat it off into a sort of wayward direction because you don't like the person that's raised it. Give
right.
a answer to the question, for God's
That's
sake.
right. They were like, oh, there was just 12 fish. What did they say? I'll do it again. The next thing they said, well, there's just 12 fish performing badly. And I'm like, what are they, actors or something? What do you mean performing badly?
Performing badly? What, underneath someone's size 10 boot?
They were probably struggling to live, these poor fish, actually. And then it was a windy day and the staff were in a hurry. And they ended by saying that they were offering support to their staff in case they felt a bit vulnerable, like, I don't know, vegans were picking on them or something like that. I'm not really sure. So, there's nothing about the fish at all. We're vegans and we're known to be against animal farming. And at the end, our poor staff, we're going to support them at this difficult time. These are the staff that just brutalize the fish, by the way.
Unbelievable. Let's do some questions here, Dale. Andrew Furnace on Facebook says, I was wondering what plans you have in place to make sure Forest Green Rovers stay vegan alongside the other wonderful eco initiatives whenever the time comes for you to step down. I love going to the games in a large part because of the food and would love to take my kids there too one day. Well, I don't know where to start on this. Are you stepping down, Dale?
No, I'm not. I think I know where to start because everywhere I go in Europe, everybody knows about Forest Green. So it's not just, in Britain that, we're famous for our food primarily, I would say. The football's not bad, but our food kind of, scores. Everywhere I go, Croatia here today, yesterday, people know about Forest Green. Germany, Berlin, the other day, that kind of stuff. I think that's great. Am I going to step down? I don't know. Maybe the answer is I need to get an AI version of me that can go on and on and on and on forever.
Well, we could just do this whole thing could be AI, couldn't it? One of each of us. And then when we talk about the leader of the opposition will be AI. So, I think we've got the AI thing covered. We're well ahead of the game on this.
And we'll all just spend our time on the beach.
Yeah.
Because AI can pick up the slack or whatever.
I can't see any downsides to this, to be honest. Deborah Walker, also on Facebook. This is reference to a post about Thames Water boss who thinks he's doing a good job. Deborah says, let them go bankrupt. Why are we, the public, paying to fix what the water companies broke?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ongoing, this water company thing, isn't it? Not only are they dumping shit into God knows where, they're not fixing leaks. They seem to be able to sort of execute this rather curious policy, despite the crap in the seas and the not fixing the leaks. The best response to that is to give your directors a shed load more money as a bonus.
Yeah, and to ask the regulator to allow a 40% increase in water bills. I mean, what a these guys have stripped billions out of the water industry, out of Thames, from Thames water bill payers. So since privatisation, tens of billions of pounds has gone on dividends for shareholders. It's left our country, it's left our economy, it's gone to tax havens and stuff like that. And while our infrastructure crumbles, resulting in where we are now, which is like ankle deep in shit. And the boss thinks he's doing a good job. he needs a reality check. And Thames want a 40% bill increase in order they can fix the pipes that they haven't fixed because they took all the money out and did something else with it.
Well, sticking with the big kind of corporations, Anthony Barker, this is reference Centrica's boss. Remember, he said, we talked about it last week, green energy won't get prices down. Anthony says, Dale, as you're a company that generates and retails energy, would you, maybe for a limited time, so as to not to put your company at an unfair disadvantage, bypass the international markets and sell some of your energy at cost plus fair profit and advertise it well so that everybody knows what we could be paying if the price wasn't coupled with the cost of gas. People would soon get the message if they saw some solid figures. Keep up the good work.
Well, it's a great idea. I want to say that it's a complicated business, the energy market, but probably the simple answer is to say, look, we already do that because all of the energy that we make, we don't sell. We keep it ourselves for our customers, and we don't allow the international price to set the price of that. But we only make, I think, maybe just 20% now of our own energy. The rest we have to buy, which is influenced by the price of international markets. So the real answer for us is to build more. Of course, that has been really difficult for the last decade or so since the Tories banned onshore wind. But that stuff's all coming back with a bang now, solar and wind, which Tories done away with. We're like 10 months into a Labour government now, I think, and all the rules have changed, and we're going to get building like there's no tomorrow, because there probably isn't if we don't.
Well, there won't be. David Spencer also referenced the Centrica boss's green energy comments. Who or what has the ability to change how green energy is priced, i.e., not tie it with the price of gas? Then this lot know who to contact and lobby. This lot being the Facebook community.
All right.
How does that? The whole thing about your energy bill, it's linked to the price of gas. And it's not just linked to the price of gas; it's linked to the highest price of gas on any given moment, as it were, not the lowest. How can that fundamentally change? Is there a mechanism, a person, an individual, or a body can go, this is a crock of nonsense, doesn't work, it's not fair, let's do this instead?
I think we're gaining traction with this argument of breaking the link. I hear a lot of people talk about it or recognize it when I do talk about it. They say, oh, yes, we need to break the link and stuff like that. I would say if you're going to aim a campaign at somebody, aim it at Ed Miliband. I mean, he's my friend. I like him. So I don't say that because I, want to cause him any harm. But he's the man in charge of DESNZ. And I think this falls squarely into DESNZ territory. They understand the issue with breaking the link, but they think it's too difficult and complicated to do, which it isn't. And we're publishing a Haynes manual of how to break the link in about a week's time. It's ever so simple. There's a mechanism embedded in the energy industry, and every half an hour of the day, there's an auction. Generators bid to be on the grid, and the national grid builds up its stack of prices from lowest to the last one in is the highest. And instead of paying people what they bid, National Grid pays them what the top one bids. It's always gas, and everybody gets the gas price, even though they don't need the gas price. And it's a very simple mechanism to change.
Yes, very bizarre mechanism to be in place to
Yes,
start with, really. You wonder who sat down one day and said, I've got a great idea of how to price the gas or the energy, and they came up with this one.
And I'll tell you a funny thing. Can I just say a funny thing? The boss of Centrica, he has made this intervention and it has caused waves. And he talks about green energy not being able to bring our prices down. And he talks about CFDs or something like that as being like part of his story. What he didn't identify is it's the price of gas that's the problem. And funnily enough, Centrica and British Gas, they make an awful lot of money from the price of gas.
Yeah. No, an old boss of mine used to say that you can judge how well things are going not just by your increase in audience, which we do really well on this podcast, but also on the increase of the people that want to have a pop at you, which is why we introduced X-Rated Corner. For those who don't know, these are the people that are not what you might say super fans of Dale Vince. And there's been more than normal this week, Dale. So I don't know what you've been doing, but should we have a little delve into the box?
I think we should. No, I tell you what, I still disagree. I think they like everything about me, including especially my hair.
It's particularly the hair. Oh, and the gold coat. Or is it silver?
Oh, shit. I didn't bring it. It's too warm. It's
You
gold.
don't need it there.
It's gold with a pink fluffy collar. It's really lovely.
This comes from Mr. Fezziwig, who said, this is about Israel and Ukrainian flags in Berlin. He says, you wouldn't last 5 minutes in the Middle East, cupcake.
Oh, do you know what makes me laugh most about this section of the show is the names. The names of people. We had Arsdog last week. He was great value for money.
Arsdog, yeah, he was a legend.
Fezziwig. Well, what this is about,
tweet.
I posted this picture, didn't I? I think it was on the Bavarian embassy or something. There's an Israeli flag and a Ukrainian flag with the Bavarian one in the middle. Yeah. And I'm like, this is just symptomatic of the confliction or confusion that the West has. How can we be supporting Israel and Ukraine at the same time? One has been invaded and its infrastructure destroyed and its people murdered. And the other one is doing it in Palestine, is doing it to somebody else. They're on different sides of this thing that we abhor, which is, this illegal violence, invasion and occupation. I don't understand it at all.
Here's a question from Beef on X, who says...
he made that name up just for me.
Beef. This is reference Starmer's deal with the EU. And Daily Mail's accusations of surrender. He says, we, Reform Party UK, just want to say thank you. This has sealed UK Labour's fate. Labour did unite the country, but not in the way they thought they did. Bye-bye Labour, waving hand emoji. Again, thank you. Crying with laughter emoji. There you go.
Wow.
Beef's got it off his chest.
He's got it off his chest. Maybe he doesn't know there's not an election for another 4 years. Maybe he doesn't know that. I think he's jumping the gun a little bit there. And I think he's also wrong. I think the economic benefits of the trade deals we're doing, of the reforms of the planning system and building things and all of that kind of stuff, saving British Steel even and all that kind of stuff. those will be felt, I hope, by the next election. And, we'll get past this kind of fairy tale part of our past where the EU is bad and trade with the EU is bad, and we're better off having trade barriers than actual trade deals with the EU. We'll get past that by the next election. I feel pretty sure.
This one comes from Red Lip Riots on X. This is a post on Reform being a populist party that will say anything to win votes, which I think you would have posted, Dale, or somebody certainly did. Anyway, Red Lip Riot says the solar-powered messiah of smug, preaching from his wind turbine throne about truth and integrity while shoveling taxpayers' cash into his eco-empire, flogging green indulgences to the guilt-ridden middle classes and backing Labour like it's still 1976.
You know what? I think that's a brilliant rant, just brilliant. It's completely, obviously, disconnected to reality. But I love the visuals. The throne and the preaching and the indulgences, selling green indulgences to guilty middle class people. I think that's super. I have to say that shoveling subsidies. Yeah, it's just wrong. We've faced this one before. It's a silly old thing. We don't have subsidies, haven't had subsidies. And I shouldn't even take it seriously, probably, but I just did.
Yeah, well, no, it's worth every now and again a bit of a reiteration of that one, in case people didn't get it the first, second, or 15,000th time that you've had to say
That's
it.
Right. That's right.
And this from a final one, BRS on X. Similar point says, Dale, you really are a sausage. There you go. They're not all that bad.
They're quite cute, aren't they? I've got time for them.
You really are a sausage. It embarrasses the nation. You've managed to get to where you are. Lots of hot air and nothing else.
Well,
to be fair, you are the one sitting on a balcony in Croatia. So
I am the one in Croatia.
Bound to say that with a beer.
Yeah, and I just crossed, like you did, to Bulgaria. Just crossed Europe by rail. It's an epic kind of way.
It's epic and it's easy.
Yeah, epic and easy. You're right.
There it is. Dale, we're done for a week.
Can't wait.
But,
Actually,
of course, don't forget this. Oh, by the way, to tell everyone this podcast lands, I think that's the correct expression, lands every Friday morning at exactly 8 a.m. You can set
rain
your
or
cock
shine.
by it, kids.
Yeah, set your cock by it. Yeah. Terms and conditions apply there, right?
That's right, yeah. We won't even go into why. And then, of course, there's the following Dale on social media, facebook.com/Dale Vince. You can follow Dale on Twitter or x.com/Dale Vince and on TikTok too.